Why do some people dare to disrespect you again and again, while others naturally command respect without saying a single word? The secret is not anger, revenge, or proving your worth. It is mastering the invisible power of your presence, your boundaries, and your inner discipline. In this wisdom, you will learn how to become the kind of person others think twice before crossing, without losing your peace. Promise of the day. Today, you will discover the deeper psychology behind true power, how to build unshakable self-respect, create powerful boundaries, and develop a presence that naturally teaches others how to treat you. 1. The weakness that invites disrespect, and the inner shift that ends it. There is a truth about human behavior that many people do not want to accept. People do not always treat you based on what you say. They treat you based on what you allow. A person can speak many beautiful words about confidence, strength, and self-respect. But the real test is not in what you say when everything is comfortable. The real test is how you respond when someone crosses a line, when someone ignores your value, when someone tries to make you feel smaller. Because the world is constantly observing one thing: what kind of treatment will you accept? Many people believe disrespect begins because of the other person. They think, that person is rude, that person is arrogant, that person has no manners. Sometimes this is true, but there is another deeper layer. Disrespect often continues because we teach others without realizing it that there are no consequences for their actions. This does not mean you are responsible for someone else's bad behavior. It means you are responsible for your response. A person with strong inner discipline understands something important. You cannot control every person's character, but you can control the standard you create around yourself. Imagine a person walking into a room carrying a valuable diamond in their hand. Would they throw it on the ground and allow everyone to step on it? No. They would protect it, they would handle it carefully, they would understand its value. Your self-respect is that diamond. But many people protect their possessions more carefully than they protect their own dignity. They protect their phone, they protect their money, they protect their time. But when someone repeatedly insults them, uses them, manipulates them, or takes their kindness for weakness, they remain silent because they fear losing that person's approval. This is where disrespect begins. Not always with the words of another person. Sometimes it begins with the moment you abandon yourself to keep someone else comfortable. A person who constantly sacrifices their own dignity for acceptance sends a hidden message. My value depends on whether you choose to appreciate me. But true power begins when you understand. My value exists before anyone recognizes it. You do not become valuable because someone respects you. You become respected because you understand your value. Many people search for respect from the outside world. They want people to admire them. They want people to notice their efforts. They want people to treat them better. But they forget the first person who must recognize their worth is themselves. If you constantly seek permission from others to feel worthy, you give them control over your emotional state. One day someone praises you and you feel powerful. The next day someone criticizes you and you feel worthless. This is not inner strength. This is dependence. A strong person does not become arrogant. A strong person becomes stable. They know who they are when people applaud them. They know who they are when people misunderstand them. They know who they are when nobody notices their efforts. This stability is what creates power, because people naturally respect what cannot be easily shaken. Think about a tree during a storm. A weak tree breaks because it has no flexibility and no deep roots. But a strong tree bends with the wind because beneath the surface, its foundation is powerful. Human beings are the same. Your reactions reveal your roots. When someone insults you, do you immediately explode? When someone ignores you, do you desperately chase their attention? When someone treats you unfairly, do you lose yourself trying to prove your worth? These reactions show where your power is located. If your power is outside of you, anyone can take it away. A person's anger, approval, rejection, or opinion can control you. But when your power is inside of you, people can try to disturb your peace, but they cannot own it. This is the first shift. Stop asking, how can I make people respect me? Start asking, am I respecting myself through my actions? Because your behavior teaches people how to approach you. If you always forgive without change, people may learn that they can hurt you without consequence. If you always say yes when you want to say no, people may learn that your boundaries do not matter. If you always explain yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you, people may learn that your energy is available for them to consume. A person who respects themselves does not need to announce their boundaries every day. Their actions speak. They do not need to threaten. They do not need to create fear. They simply become clear. That behavior is not acceptable. I will not continue this conversation if there is disrespect. I understand your opinion, but I will not abandon myself to satisfy it. These words are powerful because they come from a calm mind. Many people confuse power with aggression. They believe powerful people are those who speak loudly, dominate conversations, or make others afraid. But real power is different. A mountain does not shout to prove it is tall. The ocean does not argue to prove it is deep. True strength does not need constant demonstration. It is felt. This is why some people enter a room, say very little, and still command attention. Their power comes from alignment. Their thoughts, words, and actions are connected. They are not trying to convince others that they matter. They already know. The person who constantly seeks validation becomes easy to control. The person who has inner certainty becomes difficult to manipulate. This is why the first step towards stopping disrespect is not changing other people. It is changing the relationship you have with yourself. Ask yourself, where have I accepted less than I deserve? Where have I stayed silent because I feared rejection? Where have I allowed someone else's opinion to become louder than my own wisdom? These questions are uncomfortable, but growth often begins with uncomfortable honesty. A person cannot change what they refuse to see. The moment you become aware of your patterns, you gain the ability to transform them. Remember this. People who disrespect you are often testing your standards, not always consciously, but human beings naturally explore boundaries. A child tests boundaries, a colleague tests boundaries, a friend tests boundaries, a partner tests boundaries. The question is not whether boundaries will be tested. The question is, will your boundaries remain standing? A person with no boundaries creates confusion. They say they want respect, but their actions communicate acceptance of disrespect. A person with strong boundaries creates clarity. Others understand where the line exists. And when the line is clear, respect has space to grow. But there is something deeper you must understand. Even strong boundaries will fail if your emotions control you, because someone who can control your emotions can still control you, and this leads to a deeper level of power. The ability to remain calm when someone tries to disturb your peace. Because the strongest person in the room is rarely the loudest person. The strongest person is often the one who can remain centered while everything around them tries to create chaos. And this is where the next transformation begins. Because once you stop allowing disrespect, you must learn the skill that protects your power from being stolen. The skill of mastering yourself when others try to provoke you. 2. The silent power of emotional control. Why calm people are hardest to challenge. Many people think winning an argument means having the strongest words. They believe the person who speaks louder has more power. But observe carefully. When two people lose control, both become prisoners of emotion. The person who makes you angry has already influenced you. The person who makes you react without thinking has already entered your mind. This is why emotional control is one of the highest forms of power. Not because you stop feeling, but because you stop becoming controlled by what you feel. A person without emotional discipline is like a boat without an anchor. Every wave moves them. Someone praises them, they rise. Someone criticizes them, they fall. Someone ignores them, they become desperate. Someone challenges them, they become aggressive. Their environment controls their inner world. But a disciplined person creates space between what happens and how they respond. Inside that space is freedom. There is an old wisdom. Between the event and your reaction, there is a moment. In that moment, your power lives. Most people lose their power because they react too quickly. Someone says something hurtful, and immediately they respond. Someone insults them, and immediately they attack back. Someone tries to provoke them and immediately they give that person control. But a calm person understands something. A reaction is giving away your power. A response is using your power. The difference is awareness. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. When someone tries to disrespect you, they often expect a certain behavior. They expect anger. They expect shouting. They expect emotional chaos. Why? Because emotional chaos makes people easier to control. When you become angry, your thinking becomes weaker. When you become desperate, your judgment becomes unclear. When you become obsessed with proving yourself, you forget your own worth. This is why calmness creates strength. A calm person sees more, they understand more, they choose better actions. Imagine someone throwing a stone into a still lake. The stone creates movement, but after some time, the lake becomes still again. Now imagine throwing a stone into a storm. The storm was already chaotic. The stone changes nothing. A disciplined mind is like the still lake. Challenges may come, people may criticize, situations may become difficult, but the center remains stable. This stability creates a powerful presence. People begin to realize this person cannot easily be manipulated. And that is when behavior changes, because manipulation requires emotional access. If someone can easily trigger your anger, they have found your weakness. If someone can easily create insecurity inside you, they have found your weakness. If someone can easily make you abandon your values, they have found your weakness. Emotional control removes those weaknesses. But emotional control does not mean becoming cold. Some people misunderstand discipline. They think being powerful means having no emotions. That is not true. A person without emotions is not strong. A person who understands their emotions is strong. Anger can exist, sadness can exist, disappointment can exist. But these emotions do not have to become your master. You can feel something deeply and still choose your actions wisely. This is maturity. A child feels anger and immediately expresses it. A trained mind feels anger and observes it. The difference is not the emotion. The difference is the level of awareness. This is why people with inner discipline are difficult to defeat. They cannot easily be pulled into unnecessary battles. They do not spend energy proving themselves to everyone. They understand something many people learn too late. Not every battle deserves your energy. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence, not because you are weak, because you are strong enough not to be controlled. Silence becomes powerful when it comes from awareness. A fearful silence says, "I am afraid to speak." A powerful silence says, "I do not need to lower myself." The difference comes from the source. A person who lacks confidence stays silent because they fear consequences. A person with confidence stays silent because they understand consequences. They know their energy has value. They know their attention has value. They know their peace has value. And they do not give valuable things to every situation. This is the hidden psychology behind respect. People respect what has standards. They respect what has discipline. They respect what cannot be easily bought, manipulated, or destroyed. When you control your emotions, you communicate something without saying a word. I am responsible for myself. That message is powerful because the world often tests people who appear unstable, but it becomes careful around people who are grounded. A calm person does not need to threaten anyone. Their presence itself creates awareness. Their behavior says, I am peaceful, but I am not powerless. This balance is important. Peace without strength can become weakness. Strength without peace can become destruction. True mastery is having both. A person who has mastered themselves does not walk through life trying to dominate others. They walk through life refusing to be dominated by their own impulses. And this is where real respect begins, not when everyone fears you, but when nobody can easily move you away from who you are. The deepest power is controlling yourself. And when you develop that level of inner control, something changes around you. People begin to notice your silence. They begin to notice your boundaries. They begin to notice that you no longer react the same way. And then they face a question they cannot ignore. If this person no longer responds like before, what else has changed inside them? That question opens the door to the next level of power, the ability to create boundaries that people naturally understand without needing endless explanations. 3. Boundaries are not walls, they are the language of self-respect. Many people misunderstand boundaries. They think boundaries are about pushing people away. They think boundaries mean becoming cold, distant, or difficult to approach. But a true boundary is not a wall built from anger. A true boundary is a bridge built from self-respect. It is a clear message that says, "This is how I choose to be treated. This is what I accept. This is what I do not accept." A person without boundaries is like a house with no door. Everyone can enter, everyone can take something, everyone can create disorder. And slowly, the person living inside that house loses the feeling that it belongs to them. Your mind is your home, your time is your home, your energy is your home, your peace is your home. If you allow everyone to enter without awareness, you will eventually become exhausted, protecting what you never protected in the beginning. Many people are tired today, not because life is too difficult, but because they have given too much access to people who have not earned it. They answer every message, they solve every problem. They forgive the same behavior again and again. They keep explaining themselves to people who are not listening. They keep giving opportunities to people who only take advantage. And then they wonder, why do I feel empty? 2. Because self-respect is not only about how others treat you, it is also about how you protect yourself from unnecessary damage. A person who truly values themselves understands that kindness does not mean unlimited availability. Compassion does not mean allowing harm. Understanding does not mean accepting disrespect. You can have a good heart and still have strong boundaries. In fact, the strongest people often have the clearest boundaries because they understand the value of their energy. Imagine a garden. A beautiful garden needs sunlight, it needs water, it needs care, but it also needs a fence. Why? Not because the gardener hates the world. The fence exists because the gardener understands that something valuable needs protection. Your life is the same. Your kindness is the garden. Your boundaries are the fence. Without the fence, even beautiful things can be destroyed. Many people fear setting boundaries because they worry about losing others. They think, if I say no, people may leave. If I speak honestly, people may become upset. Or, if I stop accepting certain behavior, people may not like me anymore. But there is a deeper question. Why are you afraid of losing people who only stay when you abandon yourself? A relationship that requires you to constantly betray your own needs is not built on respect. It is built on sacrifice. And sacrifice without balance eventually becomes resentment. A person who never says no may appear kind on the outside, but inside, frustration grows. They smile while feeling hurt. They agree while feeling uncomfortable. They help while feeling used. This creates a dangerous separation between the person they show the world and the person they carry inside. Inner peace disappears when your outer life does not match your inner truth. Boundaries restore that connection. They allow your actions to match your values. A simple no can sometimes protect years of your peace. A simple decision to step away can sometimes save you from endless suffering. A simple moment of courage can change the relationship you have with yourself. But remember something important. Boundaries are not punishments. They are not created to make people suffer. They are created to create clarity. A mature person does not say, "I will hurt you because you hurt me." A mature person says, "I will protect myself because I respect myself." There is a huge difference. One comes from revenge, the other comes from wisdom. Revenge still keeps you connected to the person who harmed you. Wisdom frees you. When someone disrespects you, your goal should not be to make them feel pain. Your goal should be to protect your peace. Because the moment you become obsessed with making someone understand your value, you have already given them control over your emotions. A person with strong boundaries does not spend endless energy convincing others. They simply act. If someone repeatedly speaks to you without respect, you create distance. If someone repeatedly breaks trust, you adjust access. Knows your value, you stop offering your energy where it is not appreciated. Not with hatred, not with anger, with awareness. This is the language of self-respect. The world listens more to your actions than your words. You can tell someone, "Please respect me." But if your actions show that you will accept anything, your message becomes unclear. Respect begins when your actions support your words. This is why boundaries are powerful. They teach others how to approach you. A person who constantly changes their standards based on who is in front of them becomes easy to manipulate. But a person who remains consistent becomes difficult to control. Consistency creates respect. Think about a teacher in a classroom. A good teacher is not respected because they are the loudest person. They are respected because students understand the rules. They understand what is acceptable. They understand what happens when those rules are ignored. The teacher creates structure. Boundaries create structure in relationships. Without structure, confusion grows. With structure, trust grows. This applies everywhere. In friendships, in family, in work, in love. A person who loves you should not require you to destroy yourself. A person who values you should not need unlimited access to prove your loyalty. A healthy connection allows two people to exist with dignity. Because real love does not remove your identity, real love protects it. Many people spend years trying to be liked by everyone, but this is an impossible task. Different people will have different opinions. Some people will misunderstand your boundaries. Some people will call you selfish when you stop giving them what benefited them. But remember, a person who benefits from your lack of boundaries will often dislike your boundaries. This does not mean your boundary is wrong. Sometimes discomfort is the evidence that change is happening. When you change your behavior, people who are comfortable with the old version of you may resist. They may say, "You have changed." And maybe you have. Maybe you have changed from someone who accepted everything into someone who respects themselves. Maybe you have changed from someone who feared rejection into someone who values peace. Maybe you have changed from someone who begged to be understood into someone who understands themselves. That is not becoming worse, that is becoming wiser. But boundaries alone are not enough, because there is another layer. A person can have boundaries, but if their presence lacks confidence, others may still challenge them. The world does not only observe what you say, it observes how you carry yourself, your posture, your energy, your calmness, your certainty. Because before people listen to your words, they feel your presence. And this leads to a deeper level of power. The power of becoming someone whose presence speaks before they even say a word. 4. Mastering your presence, how confidence makes people adjust their behavior. There are people who enter a room and immediately change the atmosphere. They do not need to announce themselves. They do not need to demand attention. They simply carry something different, a quality that cannot be easily explained. This quality is presence. Presence is not about being the most attractive person. It is not about having the highest position. It is not about controlling others. Presence comes from being deeply connected with yourself. A person with presence is not constantly searching for approval. They are not looking around asking, "Do people like me? Do people accept me? Do people think I am important?" Their attention is not trapped outside. Their attention is centered within. This creates a calm confidence, and calm confidence is powerful. Many people misunderstand confidence. They think confidence means talking more, showing more, proving more. But real confidence often looks quiet. A confident person does not need to compete in every conversation. They do not need to prove they are right every moment. They do not need to win every argument. Why? Because their sense of worth is not dependent on victory. A person who knows themselves does not panic when challenged. They listen, they observe, they choose. This creates respect. People naturally adjust their behavior around those who are internally stable. Think about a person standing firmly during strong winds. The wind may be powerful, but the person remains grounded. That stability creates trust. In life, people are drawn towards stability. They trust people who are emotionally balanced. They respect people who are consistent. They notice people who are not easily controlled. This is why mastering your presence changes how people treat you. Your body communicates before your mouth speaks. Your eye contact, your posture, your movement, your tone, your silence. All of these send messages. A person who avoids eye contact, constantly apologizes, and speaks with uncertainty may unintentionally communicate insecurity. A person who stands calmly, speaks clearly, and respects themselves communicates strength. This does not mean pretending, it means training. Confidence is not something you magically receive, it is something you build. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, confidence grows. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, confidence grows. Every time you face something difficult instead of running away, confidence grows. Confidence is the memory of overcoming. You become confident because your mind remembers, I have faced challenges before. I have survived difficult moments before. I can trust myself. Self-trust is the foundation of powerful presence. Many people want others to trust them, but they do not trust themselves. They break promises to themselves. They ignore their own needs. They abandon their own decisions because someone else disagrees. Over time, their own mind learns, my words do not matter. But when you start honoring yourself, something changes. You begin to believe yourself again. And when you believe yourself, others feel that certainty. This is why confidence cannot be faked for long. You can wear expensive clothes. You can use impressive words. You can create a powerful image. But if your inner foundation is weak, people eventually feel the difference. True presence comes from inner alignment. Your values, your actions, your words, your choices, all moving in the same direction. When these become aligned, you become difficult to shake. And this creates a new type of power. Not the power to control people, the power to influence the way people approach you. Because people often mirror the energy you bring. If you constantly show fear, uncertainty, and desperation, some people will respond to that weakness. But when you bring calm certainty, people often respond differently. They become more careful. They become more respectful. They recognize that your energy has standards. The goal is not to make people afraid of you. Fear disappears. Respect lasts. A person who creates fear needs constant control. A person who creates respect simply needs to remain true to themselves. This is the difference between force and strength. Force pushes. Strength stands. A mountain does not chase anyone. It does not demand recognition. It simply exists with power. Your goal is not to become someone who needs everyone to respect you. Your goal is to become someone who respects themselves so deeply that disrespect no longer finds a comfortable place near you. When you build boundaries and master your presence, something begins to change. You stop asking the world, how do I make people treat me better? And you begin living the answer. I will become someone whose standards make respect the only possible response. But there is still another level of understanding. Because even a strong presence can be tested. There will always be people who challenge boundaries. There will always be situations that attempt to pull you back into old patterns. The next level is learning the psychology of consequences, how to respond when someone crosses the line without losing your peace or your power. 5. The psychology of consequences, teaching respect without threats or anger. There is a difference between being kind and being available for everyone to misuse. There is a difference between forgiveness and allowing the same wound to happen repeatedly. There is a difference between peace and avoiding necessary action. Many people misunderstand power because they think power means making others afraid. They think a powerful person is someone who can hurt others, control others, or force others to obey. But this is not true strength. Anyone can react with anger. Anyone can raise their voice. Anyone can create fear through aggression, but it takes a much higher level of discipline to remain calm while still protecting your dignity. True power is not shown by how much damage you can create. True power is shown by how much control you have over yourself. This is why consequences are important. A consequence is not revenge. A consequence is not punishment. A consequence is simply a natural result of someone's choices. Every action in life creates a result. If you take care of your body becomes stronger. If you train your mind becomes clearer. If you ignore your responsibilities, problems eventually appear. The same principle exists in relationships. When someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries and nothing changes, they learn something. They learn that their behavior has no cost. They learn that they can continue, not because they are stronger than you, but because there is no clear response. This is why consequences are necessary, not to control others, to create understanding. Imagine walking on a road where there are no signs, no rules, and no direction. Everyone moves however they want. Chaos appears. But when signs exist, people know where to go. Boundaries and consequences are the signs of human relationships. They create clarity. A mature person does not say, "I will make you suffer because you hurt me." A mature person says, "Because of your actions, I must change my access to you." This is a completely different mindset. One comes from emotional pain, the other comes from wisdom. When someone repeatedly disrespects you, the strongest response is often not a dramatic reaction. It is a change in your behavior. You stop explaining, you stop chasing, you stop trying to convince someone to see your value. You simply adjust your position. This is where many people struggle. They believe that if they explain themselves enough, the other person will suddenly understand. But wisdom teaches us something important. A person who benefits from misunderstanding you may not be interested in understanding you. You can give 100 explanations. You can provide endless proof. You can spend all your energy trying to be seen. But if someone has already decided not to respect you, more words will not create respect. Sometimes your silence communicates more than your arguments. Sometimes your distance teaches more than your anger. Sometimes your absence reveals your value more than your presence ever did. This is the psychology of consequences. People learn from what changes after their actions. If someone treats you poorly and you continue giving them the same access, they learn that nothing needs to change. But if someone treats you poorly and you calmly change your response, they receive a message. This person has standards. This person values themselves. This person cannot be treated carelessly. Notice something important. You do not need to announce your power. You demonstrate it through consistency. A person who constantly threatens consequences but never follows through teaches others not to take them seriously. Their words lose meaning. But a person who calmly acts according to their values creates trust. Their silence has weight. Their decisions have meaning. This is why discipline is more powerful than anger. Anger is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Anger says, "I want you to feel what I feel." Discipline says, "I will choose what protects my future." One is controlled by emotion, the other is guided by wisdom. Think about a skilled martial artist. A beginner may use strength immediately. They react, they attack, they waste energy. But a master understands timing. They know when to move, they know when to wait, they know when not to fight. Life requires the same wisdom. Not every disrespect deserves a battle. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every person deserves access to your energy. A person who understands consequences knows where to place their attention. They do not fight every enemy. They do not answer every criticism. They do not prove themselves to every doubt. They understand that attention is a form of energy, and energy is valuable. Where you place your attention is where your life grows. If you spend your energy trying to convince disrespectful people to respect you, you are still allowing them to control your life. But when you redirect that energy toward yourself, something changes. You become stronger, you become clearer, you become less dependent on external approval. And this is when people begin to notice a transformation. Because the person who once reacted immediately now responds calmly. The person who once begged for understanding now chooses peace. The person who once accepted anything now stands with dignity. People may not understand the change immediately. They may ask, "You?" But the answer is simple. You remembered who you were. You returned to yourself. This is the purpose of consequences. Not to change others, to strengthen yourself. Because the greatest victory is not making someone regret how they treated you. The greatest victory is becoming someone who no longer allows the same treatment. Many people wait for an apology before they move forward. They wait for someone to admit they were wrong. They wait for someone to finally recognize their pain. But this creates a hidden prison, because your healing becomes dependent on another person's awareness. A stronger mindset says, I can move forward even if they never understand. This is freedom. You cannot control whether someone learns. You can only control what you allow. And when your standards become clear, your life becomes clearer. But there is something deeper. Consequences create respect from the outside. But there is another level of power, a level where you no longer need to constantly defend yourself, a level where your mindset itself becomes your protection, a level where your peace cannot easily be disturbed. This is the mindset of the person who becomes truly untouchable. 6. Becoming untouchable, the mindset of a person nobody dares to disrespect. Being untouchable does not mean becoming emotionless. It does not mean becoming someone who never feels pain. It does not mean becoming distant from humanity. Being untouchable means something deeper. It means becoming so connected with yourself that outside actions cannot easily destroy your inner balance. A person who is untouchable is not someone who never experiences challenges. They are someone who knows how to return to themselves after challenges. Storms still come, but the foundation remains. This is the final level of inner power, not controlling the world around you, mastering the world within you. Many people spend their entire lives trying to control external things. They try to control what others think. They try to control how others behave. They try to control whether others approve of them. But this creates exhaustion, because the outside world is always changing. People change, situations change, opinions change. What people praise today, they may criticize tomorrow. If your confidence depends on the outside world, your confidence will always be unstable. But when your confidence comes from within, something powerful happens. You become steady. You stop chasing every opinion. You stop fighting every misunderstanding. You stop needing everyone to see your worth, because you see it yourself. This is where true freedom begins. A person who knows their value does not need to convince everyone. A diamond does not argue with someone who prefers a stone. Its value remains. The same is true for a person with strong self-respect. Not everyone will recognize you. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will appreciate your journey. But that does not reduce your value. A mature person accepts this. They understand. I cannot control everyone's perception of me, but I can control my relationship with myself. This mindset changes everything, because when you stop seeking constant approval, you become more powerful. You become calmer. You become more authentic. You become harder to manipulate. Manipulation works through fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. But when you overcome these fears, people lose their ability to